Welcome back to the Real Estate News. Our next guest is Jerry Warmus. Welcome, Jerry. Nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So I wanted to get your thoughts on interest rates. How much emphasis should buyers really put on rates considering, when they're buying a home?
Typically what we find is as interest rates go up and down, it's more of an affordability and how comfortable the borrower feels with the payment. So we typically try to get them into the interest rate that is comfortable within the market to be competitive with what is out there. We also keep very close watch on what they're earning, what their monthly payments are, kind of the outflow. If they're comfortable with it, we tend to go with that type of a scenario. And then the interest rate is just a kind of an indication of where the market is.
Sounds good. So when's the best time to talk to a mortgage lender?
From a mortgage lender standpoint, the sooner the better. We partner with the real estate group and the community out there. And what we find is that if you get in earlier to see a mortgage lender, they can give you ideas of how much home you can afford, what's the price range you should be looking at. They'll also go over things such as what kind of insurance are you going to need, what the whole process looks like, and they'll team you up with a real estate professional that in the end together will help you get the dream of your life.
Now, no buyer really wants to slow down the buying process, but is there anything that they could inadvertently do that might cause that?
There are several things that we encourage people to not do during the process of applying for a loan. Number one is to go out and take on any additional debt. We've had individuals that will apply for the loan. We get a financial picture of where they are today. And what ends up happening is then they go out and buy a car. That car payment then is utilized in the underwriting of the loan and sometimes will put them outside the reach of that home. So we encourage people not to really change their financial picture. We've had individuals also go out the day before or 2 days before the loan is ready to be closed and purchase all the furnishing for their home, trying to get a head start on it. Those types of debts, while at one time were not really looked at, in today's financial picture, are concerning to us, and therefore we address them prior to closing, and that also can help. The one last thing I would say is that as you are being as you're being guided through this process, please, as you are responding to any inquiries, do it to the speed that you would like to have that individual respond to you. So the faster you get back to the lender, the faster you get back with the information requested, the faster the loan will move along.
Great tips. Now, owning a home it's a big financial commitment. What would you say are the advantages to owning a home versus renting?
The number one advantage from my standpoint would be is that you have now a piece or an asset. You have a piece of property, you have an asset within your portfolio that people usually take a lot of pride in. It's still the American dream, and therefore as you own this home, you acquire equity, it grows. You have different options and availability to you. You put your pride into it. It's a show-off piece too. A lot of people like, this is my house. That still has a big impact on how people are looked at and viewed in the financial markets.
That's definitely true. Now, one last question. Should people consider a 15-year fixed loan over a 30-year fixed loan?
That is personal preference. Depending on what your equity accumulation goal would be. For instance, on a 15-year, more of your payment goes to pay off your principal than on the interest. So you will pay less interest over term. On a 30-year, you will pay more interest over the term. However, if you can afford a 15-year, take out a 15-year, your equity advances. If today you're just looking at, I would like to get into this home, be comfortable with the payment, the 30-year will allow that payment to be more palatable to your individual finances. So when you're looking at 15-30, and you can switch during the term, there is no prepayment penalty on programs out there today. So therefore, if you start out with a 30-year and all of a sudden you get increases in your pay, certain situations on your financial side change, you can then switch over to a 15-year and pay it off early. You will also see that opportunity to make additional principal payments on your 30-year loan that will also reduce your overall term.
Great information, Jerry. Thanks for stopping by.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for the time.
Absolutely. And you stay tuned. We'll have more coming up right after this.